Patterson's surgery started at 5:17 p.m.
According to the chart, yes.
And you sent Mr. Patterson to pre-op at 2:15 p.m.
Approximately, yes.
Expecting to operate within the hour?
Expecting to operate immediately.
But you didn't. You didn't start Mr. Patterson's operation for another 3 hours, did you?
No.
Why not?
I'm on emergency call. A life-threatening gunshot wound to a 14-year-old boy came in. I had to respond.
And were you able to save this boy?
No.
And per day, how long does the endoscopic procedure take to perform?
About an hour.
But you performed Mr. Patterson's endoscopic disectomy in 42 minutes, correct?
I don't know. I'd have to check the operative report.
Well, if the operative report stated that you were in the OR with Mr. Patterson less than 43 minutes, would you say that's correct?
It could be.
Do you have any reason to doubt the veracity of the operative report?
No.
Would it surprise you that of the 87 endoscopic disectomies you performed before November 16th, your fastest time was 54 minutes, 12 minutes slower than Mr. Patterson?
Objection. You're testifying, Bruce.
It's a question, Gordon.
Well, she can count.
Would that surprise you, Dr. Corday?
Let's move on.
Did you know that the fastest you had ever performed this procedure was 12 minutes slower than Mr. Patterson's surgery?
I do now.
You don't time yourself.
It's not a race.
Then why did the circulating nurse remind you it was 10 to 6?
Objection assumes facts, not an evidence.
Do you recall the circulating nurse reminding you that it was 10 to 6 while you were operating on Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Why did you need to be reminded?
To keep me on schedule.
And what did you have scheduled after Mr. Patterson's surgery?
I had an engagement.
Someplace more important that you had to be?
No, and I resent the inference.
What inference is that?
That I rushed Mr. Patterson's surgery in order to satisfy a personal obligation.
Okay, that's it. We're taking a break.
Did you rush?
Don't answer that.
Did the nurse remind you it was 10 to 6 because you needed to leave by 6?
Yes!
We're taking a break.
Did you get that?
No, we're off the record. Stop typing.
Medical opinion, what caused the meningocele that cut off the blood supply to Mr. Patterson's spinal cord?
A leak of CSF, cerebrospinal fluid from the dura which covers the spinal canal.
Which means you must have punctured the dura during the procedure.
That seems evident now, yes.
It wasn't evident during the procedure?
No.
It was apparently evident to the anesthesiologist.
Objection. Argumentative.
According to the operative report, Dr. Babcock, the anesthesiologist, drew your attention to spinal fluid in the surgical field at 10 to 6, correct?
No.
The note says 10 to 6, doesn't it?
Yes?
So the report is wrong?
No. He did draw my attention to fluid.
Fluid, we now know to be spinal fluid.
No.
What could it have been, doctor?
Saline.
But you understood that the anesthesiologist was concerned it might be spinal fluid.
Yes.
All right, how did you satisfy yourself that it wasn't?
I suctioned the irrigation saline and did not see any persistent CSF.
Did you look?
I can't operate without looking.
Well, given that it was 10 to 6, that you were in a hurry, the nurse simultaneously reminding you of your date.
Objection. Can we get to a question, Bruce?
Did you perform a complete and competent inspection of the field to ensure there were no CSF leaks?
Sometimes leaks are so small, you cannot detect them visually.
Nevertheless, did you perform a thorough inspection?
That's procedure.
And you followed procedure by performing a thorough inspection?
Objection. Asked and answered.
It's been asked. It has not been answered.
What was the question?
Did you perform a thorough and competent inspection, specifically looking for possible CSF leaks before you closed?
Yes.